Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. Today, we're going to be talking about Cardano's price, Bitcoin's price. We're going to talk about Gary Gensler and maybe a not so common perspective on Gary Gensler's work with the SEC over the past few years. It's definitely worth considering and thinking about. We're going to talk about my locals a little bit. I'm going to show you something cool that I made for Wargram, the card game, as we get closer to Rare Evo. And then some latest news that's going to help support some things that I'm going to discuss. So stick around. We'll be right back. And in the meantime, when you look at this intro, it's going to go straight into a series of little predictions that I made last month, not that long ago. And we're going to talk about it because they're dead ass accurate. I'm always right sometimes. We'll be right back.
Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins.
All the way down to 58,500. And I think that was the bottom. I do. I'm hoping, maybe I'm projecting, I don't know, but I think this was the bottom. Because as of right now, there's nothing else down here. There's no reason for the market makers to want to move the price further down outside of this quick little tip at the end of dinner for $24 million worth of liquidation before we start working our way up into the bigger money liquidations, which is back up here around the $64,900 range. Okay. So I expect us to basically do one of these. I expect this to go whoop and then start rising up. That's what I expect to see. Now, looking at Cardano, we are basically in a falling wedge pattern right here. And the last time we touched on this, which was much deeper in the wedge, the price rose about 37 or about 30%. Now, the difference here is if we conclude and do a breakout of this range here, I expect us to bounce off of it for support and then take off. I feel like the price action across the board, whether it's Cardano, Bitcoin, I feel like it's all kind of in a similar area, a similar territory, but ultimately different metrics. You can see we're way oversold here in Cardano's price once we wick down to the bottom of this channel, and we're slowly moving our way back up. Now, to break this channel, the price is going to have to break above about 41 cents, which I really don't think is going to be much of an issue. And then we might see something in the 45, 50 cent range and then bounce off of this, the top of this channel here, and until we start moving up into higher territory. So there you have it. That was June 27th, not that long ago. Now we're going to go ahead and dive into the current price action and see what's happening. So if we're looking at Bitcoin, you can see that video was done when the price was right about here, right above this liquidation line. And as I explained in the video, the price was probably going to be moving down. It's going to take out that liquidation or take out that liquidity and then do a reversal to the upside. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we're charting up towards the $64,000, $65,000 range to start chewing up a lot of that liquidity. Now, in the short term, what does that mean? Typically, July is a pretty slow month. July and August are generally fairly slow in crypto. But we've also seen that how the prices of all of these assets have been kind of having a mind of their own because of these ETFs, ultimately sending everything into weird places about 2 months early. So we could potentially take out this liquidity up here, which is continuing to grow, and it's just basically sitting ducks for the market makers. And then we might run into the bottom of the pi cycle indicator. Now, given where we're at and what's going on, the question is, do we break above that with Bitcoin or do we come back down? Do we bounce off of this as some form of resistance? I hate to say it, but I could see us basically bouncing off of this for right now and either trending sideways and then establishing a new trade channel overall, or just continuing in this channel until we get out of July and maybe further into August. But we'll see. I don't have a firm prediction as to what I think is going to happen here. I do think we're going to break through. I think we're going to head up to the upside. Once we get closer to this, this is a daily candle, so maybe this takes a few days. This is Monday, so it's Monday, July 1st. We'll see what happens. Maybe this happens throughout the week. We could see a significant pump up into this area, liquidating all of this, bouncing off of this for a Wednesday reversal. So we could reverse off of this and start coming back down. But we're going to look at the liquidity as it shapes up between now and then. Cardano, basically exactly what I said I thought was going to happen is happening. And this, I've been waiting until the price hit 41 cents to do this video, because this is what I said was going to need to happen for us to basically break out of this channel. We needed to hit a 41 cent price point, which we did. We're sitting at 41 cents right now. But the price is kind of teetering back and forth, but it's ultimately in the 41 percentile range, 40 cents to 41 cents. From here, like I said, we could start making our way upwards. I could see us hitting somewhere around 45 cents, maybe in the not so distant future, probably as Bitcoin climbs to get that liquidity. A lot of the profits, a lot of that money is going to spill into Cardano. So I think everything is I think it looks pretty good. But as we continue to move up in this, though, mind you, we're on a 4-hour chart here. And on a 4-hour chart, we're starting to get to a point where we're overbought on the RSI. Now, that overbought could only mean that we then come back down, bounce off of this, as I explained. This becomes support for this breakout, this trend line here. This then becomes support, and we start working our way towards 50 cents, which I absolutely can't wait to see. But like I said, July is typically a pretty slow period where Cardano's gains generally don't get into the double digits. So I'm not expecting miracles here, but I am liking what I'm seeing in terms of the price action, and it's nice to get kind of validated in what I expected to see happen and watch it happen ultimately in real time. So like I always say, I'm always right sometimes. Now, we're going to get into some other stuff here because I honestly think that while Bitcoin continues to move and my price predictions are generally pretty okay. I mean, I'm not a super genius when it comes to technical analysis, but I've definitely gotten much better over the years at being able to see things. And I've learned that when I have money on the line, I'm less capable of being accurate in my predictions, because you guys know me. If you've been watching me a while, I'm a very emotional guy, and I'm emotional in pretty much all things. And I feel like the older I get, the more emotional I get. So I'm basically the 7-foot ogre with arms covered in tattoos, a neck tattoo, and I get emotional about the dumbest stuff. Maybe it's my cortisol levels. I don't know. So anyway, let's dive into some of this other stuff going on. I wanted to kind of address some of it. This is my locals. Make sure you join because I'm definitely going to be posting a lot more good stuff. This here is it's a behind the scenes video at Karate Combat. You can see Mike. You guys are going to know him from doing commentary for Karate Combat and like Logan Paul and those guys. But there's the behind the scenes clip. It's about 5 minutes. Basically everything that I did, what was going on at Karate Combat. Posted an article last night, not a super long article, and I've got 30 different price prediction segments coming. And basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting, so if I do 3 price predictions, 2 of them are going to go to YouTube for Cardano based stuff, and then anything that's not Cardano related is going to go right here into my local. So if you want to know what I'm thinking, what my overviews are, what my price predictions are for non-Cardano based assets, you're going to find those in my local. So make sure you check that out. This is Commander Simner. Check this out. I'm learning basically how to animate the Wargrim TCG cards for Rare Evo. We're going to have a little collection of these. They're going to be super, super rare. And they're basically just animated cards for the Wargrim TCG game that we're looking to launch in August at Rare Evo. So that's really, really cool. CrowScores, just to let everybody know, the CrowScores I just had a really awesome meeting today with somebody that's preparing. They're part of a big team of like 60 people launching a big site And I'm going to start working with them, and we are going to start using CrowScores are going to have its own metric column in this site. It's kind of like a coin market cap, but the initial site is all about Cardano based assets, and then they're going to be launching new versions of it for different blockchains. And I actually want to get involved in this because the gentleman I spoke with is very cool, seemed very, very genuine, and they have a very genuine interest in like the community, not so much like, oh, we're going to get rich off everything we do. It seems like they already do pretty well, and so they're just putting their effort in trying to support the community as best they can. And he really likes everything that we're working on with the CrowScore, why we're doing it, how it works, what it means to the community. The more projects out there with a CrowScore just means that, you know, these projects have been reviewed thoroughly by third parties with significant accolades in IT, engineering, development, blockchain, Web3, all of that. So this is a really big deal, and it's definitely starting to shape up more and more. And the more companies that we have to do CrowScores, the more deep dive videos I'm going to be doing on assets across cyberspace, period, not just Cardano assets. So I'm definitely super pumped about that. Now, this is something I want to touch on. I know other people have been talking about it a bit. DOJ's U.S. Marshals Service chooses Coinbase to custody crypto assets. So this is very interesting. So basically, you know, when they go out and they do a raid or they do something and they basically get access to Bitcoin or just cryptocurrency assets, the U.S. Marshal Service has basically said, you know what, we're going to use Coinbase for this. And this brings me to an idea, and it's something that I want to discuss with you guys, because a lot of you are going to absolutely disagree, and I totally understand why. But I'm going to put this in your head anyway. Gary Gensler of the SEC, chairman of the SEC, has obviously been going after blockchain basically since this administration took over, right? And I was chatting with somebody on Twitter, and and this is something that I've kind of wondered and kind of alluded to over time, but I've just never said it out loud. But while we know that Gary Gensler has gone after blockchain projects, the real question has been, outside of projects that actually committed some kind of fraud, or they were really proven to be bad actors in the space, so they were penalized, fined, jailed, whatever the situation had been. Of all of the projects, how many of, like, whether it's been Coinbase or XRP or basically any of the key assets or platforms in blockchain, how many of them have not done well against the SEC? And why do you think that might be? And why do you think Gary Gensler continues to has continued, at least until recently, to spearhead these quote unquote attacks? Because this is, and I know my wife is the first to tell me I'm super naive when it comes to people, and I get that. I fully admit it. I don't know if it's a conscious choice, but I prefer looking at people and seeing like the better side of them. I try to, I think it's sometimes I ignore what I think could be the case with people, because I just don't want to believe that, you know, this person could be this way or that person could be another way, so forth. But I'm getting better about it as I get older. I'm getting a little bit more like, you know, like thick-skinned about things, but I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And, you know, it's just a big deal for me, because to hold on to anything other than that is really toxic. It's like I don't hold grudges. I can't hold grudges. I'm just not wired that way. But when I think of someone like Gary Gensler, I can't help but think to myself, we have somebody in crypto who was a major proponent, a professor at MIT, giving lectures about blockchain tech and cryptocurrency assets, Algorand, things like that. Pretty sure he was an Algorand bull at one point. And then all of a sudden he's appointed to being the SEC chair by the current administration, if I'm not mistaken. And then all of a sudden, a lot of these projects are under attack. Crypto feels like it's under attack. We have people like Senator Warren, who's just, I mean, to me is just nasty, but like, you know, all of their BS narratives, the Sherman guy who just loves to repeat himself ad nauseum. Just, I don't know if he's getting a check every time he stands somewhere and says the same shit. I mean, obviously disconnected, has really no idea what he's even talking about. I think he's just reading something on paper that's handed to him by somebody. I'm telling you, I don't know how this stuff works to that extent, but I'm just like, there's something else happening. Now, Senator Warren, I don't think she's a part of it. The guy I was just talking about, Sherman or whatever. I don't think he is a proponent of this, but there's a small part of me that wonders if Gary Gensler has been taking some of the actions he's been taking to punish the real bad actors, but at the same time create a case for a potential exoneration of the rest, like XRP, for example, Coinbase, for example. Remember a long time ago when they launched this case against Binance and Coinbase, right? That day I was on YouTube and I told everybody, I'm telling you guys right now, Binance is going to get hit with some shit and Coinbase is going to come out looking like a hero. I mean, and they still have stuff going on, but there's this kind of like sparring session going back and forth between Coinbase and the SEC now. They're just kind of like little right, little jab, jab, right, jab, right. You know, like they're just kind of going back and forth with each other. But what's ultimately happening, we're seeing Coinbase being utilized by now the U.S. Marshals. We're seeing them utilized by BlackRock for custody. We're seeing all of these major people that technically should not be in support of Coinbase, but are. And that's all happening right before our eyes while the SEC and Coinbase is having this little sparring session back and forth, and as well as everything that's happened with XRP and the like. And I'm basically, my point is, there's a part of me, folks, whether you think so or not, that there is a part of me that believes Gary Gensler is on the right side of crypto. I know it doesn't make much sense yet, but I think if you look at what he's done, I feel like to some degree he's trying to appease those that appointed him to that position, while, like I've always said, man, love him or hate him, he's not stupid. He's a smart guy. These SEC folks, those guys are on another level of existence. I'm telling you now. It's just an entirely different group of people, man. And when you think about how someone like Gary Gensler is basically appointed to this seat to spearhead all of this stuff, I'm telling you, I think a part of it is to appease the administration in line with all of the Senator Warren and Schumer and all these guys, not Schumer, Sherman, just their overall agenda to continue fighting for the people that are giving them all the money and to kind of keep the old systems in place and fear, trying to make everybody afraid, like, oh, they use crypto for bad stuff, like, like people are doing like bad dark alley deals with bags of cash, right? It's like stupid. It's kind of like a nonsensical narrative, but it's the easiest to grab onto and push to people that just don't really care, and it just helps their headlines. But when it comes to blockchain, there's a part of me that thinks Gary Gensler is like I think he's pro crypto. I still think he is. I will be very interested to see what Gary Gensler does after the SEC. Like what does he do? I don't know what kind of jobs they get. Like, do they get other like quote unquote real jobs after government work like that? Like, does he write a book? Does he, like, I want to know, like, if Gary Gensler, if he wrote a book about everything that's happened and it was like the real deal and he was breaking everything down, like, I did this because I did that because, and it was honest, I would totally buy that book and read it. I'd at least get it on Audible. Because I'd be very curious to see, like, what is his true perspective on things? Is he fighting two wars at the same time? Because that's ultimately what I think he's doing. Maybe that's just me giving somebody the benefit of the doubt that doesn't deserve it. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. But if you really pay attention, there's a part of me that really does think that he's fighting on the side of crypto, because ultimately he's shedding a spotlight on like assets and on potential rulings that he's got to know the outcomes to. Let's be real. He's a professor at MIT. He's not a professor at some community college down the street learning shit out of like, he didn't grab BitBoy's book and read it and say, now I know crypto, and then start getting into like this stuff is not, I'm telling you, I just think there's a hell of a lot more to it than meets the eye. And that's basically the way I look at it. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys think there's a chance? I'm very curious what you guys think about this. Polkadot and Cardano prices surge over 5% in 24 hours. The surge followed news of a Polkadot Cardano interoperability bridge. Analysts predict further gains for DOT and ADA, with DOT targeting $7.5 to $8.75. Polkadot and Cardano have gained significant attention in recent days, reflected in their market values. DOT and ADA are among the top performers in the last 24 hours, posting over 5% gains. This intraday surge has further boosted their weekly gains, with DOT boasting over 14% growth in the last 7 days, while ADA has registered an 8% increase. The host of the Discover Crypto channel attributed Polkadot and Cardano's strong performances to a recent update regarding the partnership between the two blockchains. Earlier in the week, a representative from the Unifier ecosystem shared on the Polkadot forum that Cardano submitted a proposal to develop a light client and NFT swap bridge, enabling seamless interactions between the Cardano and Polkadot networks. The proposed project aims to foster greater interoperability between the two ecosystems, allowing users to transfer assets across networks. The proposal has received overwhelmingly positive reactions from the community. And let me say this too, folks. Like, I know that there are a lot of projects that are on Cardano that have been finalizing or solidifying their initial intent to go multi-chain. And a lot of people, I've been seeing a lot of stuff related to World Mobile Token. I know there was stuff related to Cornucopias. And like, here's the thing. People are on Cardano. They're building out initially on Cardano because of Cardano's security. That's one of the number one things. It's decentralized, like the Ouroboros, all that stuff. They're building for Ouroboros, and they're basically expanding out into multi-chain functionality and all of that stuff because they can, right? Like, it makes no sense for anybody to just fully operate on Cardano. The more blockchains you can become interoperable with, the more expansive your base, the more expansive your user base can become. So while like all of us purists would love to just see projects launch and stay on Cardano forever and never distribute their assets across multiple chains because we want all that volume on Cardano, let's put it this way. What would you think would happen if every asset in blockchain migrated and became a Cardano asset, as well as their home chain? Because that's ultimately what I can see happening. So while a lot of people are saying, oh, you launched on Cardano, you used the community to get your funding, and now you're jumping ship. Nobody's jumping ship. They're just making their ship bigger, folks. That's all. They're just making their ship bigger so they can fit more people to do more things. Because every blockchain has very specific niches, right? Most of these blockchains have basic niche interests and things that they do very well. Cardano's thing that it does very well is its truly decentralized nature, security, and ultimately interoperability and scalability, like as Hydra continues to grow and take shape. So, I just wanted to put that out there for people. Calm down. Like everything is fine. I just think that there are so many misconceptions about Cardano that people still don't fully grasp. And the tribalism that we all suffer from, including myself, I know. It's like listen, you want me to throw Solana in the blank shit is badass. I'm just gonna be straight up. I feel the way I feel about Solana, but that tech is sick. I would love to see that kind of shit on Cardano, but who knows? But yeah, like I'm just at a point now where I'm realizing more and more that we can all work together and benefit from each other's technology, and there's really no reason we shouldn't. And that's basically what it all boils down to. And, maybe this blockchain, that blockchain goes about the way they launch and some of the shit that they do to build the wrong way. Maybe a lot of them start off basically being funded by people that are a little more on the greedy and kind of shady side, and they do a lot of shit. But if they grow out of that and they become an asset that's worth having, that's usable and benefiting the community overall, more power to them. I am a Cardano maxi. I'm not a maxi. I appreciate and I value other blockchains for what they are. I just personally, if I'm putting my money into stuff, I just trust Cardano most. That's all. That's really what it boils down to. And I have no problem at all with major applications, especially global applications, expanding their user base and functionality by going multi-chain through interoperability protocols. Give me a break, people. That's what this is all about. That's one of the main reasons I got into Cardano to begin with, because it helps facilitate that kind of stuff. So make sure you join my locals, because it supports me and it's going to support you over time here. This is going to be a really big year. I'm getting more and more excited. Definitely very glad to see Cardano finally get back to 41 cents, break out of this pattern. So much stuff to happen. It's Monday, folks. I got to get back to work. I've got a lot going on. I got to work on all these prediction video calculations. I've got all kinds of stuff happening. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. Crow your coins, and I'll see you again soon.